Why on earth are you going to go through life and believe you're an unlucky individual? I don't see how that can benefit
The shit attitude.
Why would you think? It's kind of crazy as I say this. The number one thing people don't have control of in their lives is their mind. But what's funny about that is the only thing in life you can truly control is your mind. You can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't even control your health. Your heart might stop beating. You don't make it beat. It just goes. So it's going to turn off one day. Yep. The only thing you can control in your life is what you think in your mind. So if you're going to sit there and go, oh, I'm sad, well, you can change that if you actually try, but you don't. You just accept it, right? So people have lost control of their own minds. And I don't understand why you would allow your own mind to take power from you. Why would you believe let your own mind convince you you're not a lucky person, or I'm not this, or I'm not confident? Why would you let your own mind sabotage you? Why wouldn't you reprogram your own mind to be on your team? It should be your ally, right? My mind is my ally. You can dump me in the fucking Arctic Circle to die. 2 days later, I'm coming to your house, knocking on the door with 3 girlfriends in a Cadillac. I'm not going to sit there and go, shit, I'm going to die. I'm going to be like, okay, Andrew, you're the man. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do, but you're going to pull this off. I really believe in that irrational self-confidence to some degree.
The world is full of cowards. People are absolutely and utterly coward. And that can only end when everybody stands up and stops agreeing and playing this game. It stops being cowards. We need mass numbers of people to say, no, I'm allowed an opinion. You know what, Nigel Farage, he said something that was really interesting. He was asked about who runs the world, and I guess the person was trying to set him up for a question about the elites. And he said, truthfully, I'll tell you who runs the world. We do. Because we decide how much of this crap we're going to put up with. The problem is we're putting up with too much of it. The problem is everyone's a coward. It really is truly crazy, because fear has always been the control mechanism of man. The worst things that have ever happened in any society or any civilization since the dawn of fucking records has been done under the name of fear. Get the population afraid. But I think it's also a larger issue. I think that things like making sure people are semi-depressed, making sure people are divided, making sure people are selfish, making sure people are self-obsessed. They're trying to destroy people's will to stand up and care about anyone other than themselves. And as an adult, what you need to do is seriously analyze every strongly held belief you currently have and work out where it came from. Is it personal experience? Is it from somebody who I care about and who I trust? Is it from what the news has said? Why do I believe this so much? Why do I have an emotional response to this? Where did it come from? People don't do that. They just sit there, watch the news, watch social media. These people cannot think. You live through the last 3 years and you realize that, yeah, people can't think. There's a large contingent of the world that truly cannot think.
It's just a bottom line of life. And it's kind of interesting because everyone pretends they give a fuck, but nobody does. If you ask a woman what kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're going to sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're going to have a shit life and nobody's ever going to give a fuck and you're going to perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It's against my creed. It's not in my DNA.
Of course it's garbage. Yeah. Absolutely. You've got to have winners. You've got to have losers. You have to lose to know how to win.
It's true. And the natural state of man is a competitive state of man. Men have always been competing with each other. Even now, right now, we compete with each other. I don't buy Ferraris to drive fast. I do sometimes, but if I'm in London traffic, it's not to go quick. No. It's to show everyone else I'm richer than them. That's what it is. It's a never-ending competition. I don't wear a big diamond Patek with fucking $500,000 to tell the time. I tell the time on my phone. I do it because I'm loaded. And this is actually what's interesting about the world, because the world's changed. Men used to go to war and fight each other in physical combat, and now we don't because we're more civilized in some regards. Violence is still the bottom line of society, but we try and avoid it. Men are constantly doing combat by showing each other how we can move forward with money. We're constantly in combat because of our status. 99% of what men do is for status. We want to be in good shape for status. We want the fast car for status. We want the nice house for status. We want the diamond watch. We want the hot girl. This is all for our status. Look at me. I'm the big dog. This is how we compete with each other. If you're going to be a dude who pretends that's not true, or be a dude who doesn't want to compete, your life's going to fucking suck.
Yeah.
This is what men have always done. We've
Friendly war.
Completely. We've evolved to be in battle with each other to some regard. And and you look at the entire planet throughout history. Humans have always done this. It's just like, no, I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. So, okay, then let's find out who's the boss. And now we live in a world where I think that status is the new form of combat. And the true expression of testosterone is showing you can move the world with money. This is why I do a lot of the things I do. When I show up to a hotel and every single member of staff panics and they're all standing there waiting only for me and no one else is allowed to walk in and all my cars are out front and Mr. Tate, that's war. That's winning. That's what it is. That's the game. And I don't have time to even accept the idea of a reality where I can't create that for myself.
And fighting is the same with the real world. Brute determination and consistency is nearly impossible to beat. I knew people who weren't that talented, but they were just at the gym every day. They just ran further, they just trained harder, and they ended up being world champions. That's how it gets. You cannot beat consistency. The person who does what they're supposed to do day after day, regardless of how they feel, is going to be the person who wins. The people who are the most successful in the real world are the people who wake up every day and work. If you're the person who wakes up, does work, is fantastic at it, and then takes 3 days off, you're going to lose. They say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's completely true. You have to be consistent. You have to decide. Are you the kind of person who wants to make a lot of money in this life and live a life? Or are you the kind of person who wants to look back when he's 30 on his 20s or 40 on his 30s and look at that decade and go, what did I do with that decade? Well, I didn't get rich. I didn't travel the world and live like they do in Tate Confidential. What did I do? Well, I had a day off here, a day off there, a bunch of nothing days that amalgamate into this decade of nothingness, and you're just wasting your time. If you want to win, you need to be competitive. You don't need to be the smartest, not at all, but you have to be the guy who's there day after day. And I will guarantee you right now, IQ has nothing to do with how successful you can be as a person. What is going to determine how successful you're going to be is, are you there every single day? Are you doing what you're supposed to do day after day? I can also apply that to sales. I knew guys who were terrible on the phone. Back in my day, sales was a call company. I was smooth, I was the best. We had people who were terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean they had a thick Indian accent, didn't speak English that well, didn't know the script that well, didn't know the answers, but they were always in the top 20% of the company because they just hammered the phone. They just were on it. They needed to feed their family in Bangladesh. They didn't give a fuck. They were just calling. That's it. Day after day. When you're on lunch break, he's on the phone. You can win with hard work alone. And that's what's amazing about the universe when I say that. God will give you anything you truly want. If you truly want money and you truly try hard and you truly listen to us, you are going to have as much money as you could possibly ever desire. But if you think you want money, but you kind of want something else, or if you're arrogant, or if you're lazy, you're going to end up somewhere in the middle if you're lucky and talented. And if you're not talented, you're going to end up at the bottom.
Majority of depressed people are men. Men suffer from depression more than females because a man's life is worse than a female's life. A man's life's much harder, right? Let me tell you something. Depression's not real. Feeling depressed is real. So you can feel depressed, but you feel depressed, and that is a natural biological evolutionary trigger for you to change something in your life. You're unhappy about X. If I went to jail today, I'd be depressed because I'm in jail. I haven't caught depression. I don't have a disease. I'm just upset with my situation. I have people mess with me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, you're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Do you understand? This is the point, right? So for a lot of people, your life is depressing. A lot of you out there, if you're sitting there and you say you suffer from depression, you probably live a depressing life. You probably live a depressing life. So if I was you, I'd be depressed. But if you were me, you'd be happy. Do you know what could solve depression for most poor people? $1 million in the bank. Boom. So how is it a disease? So when I say this to people, most of them agree and they go, okay, but if that's true, why do famous people kill themselves? And I say, well, I know you think you outsmarted me, but I'm Andrew Tate. And I have the answer. The reason is twofold. This absolute acceptance of depression and acceptance of weakness. When you accept anything, to a degree you're promoting it. Weakness is promoted now in men. Families in Syria. There are school buses being bombed in Yemen. There are people who lost their entire family in a car crash today. Everyone you love is in perfect health. You're a selfish idiot. And this whole society of accepting depression, as soon as someone's depressed, instantly go to them, oh, poor you. It's okay. We know you can't help it. You can't help it. Why are you telling telling people they can't help it? Why are you reinforcing that mindset in people? If you come to me and say you're depressed, I say, I will fix you. And you know what's crazy? When I said this depression thing wasn't real, do you know how many people stuck up for depression? You don't understand. I'm depressed. Depression's real. I was like, if it's so horrible, why are you defending it? You sound like it's PR team. Why? Like, what? I thought it was ruining your life, but you are desperate for me to believe in it. You want me to believe in it. You're sticking up for it. You're defending depression. Trying to convince me it's real because it's your cure-all excuse for failure. When you're depressed, you can fail in every human metric. I fail at everything, but I'm depressed. It's not my fault. No, you're a failure. That's all you are, because you're not trying very hard. If you live in a house, I say this all the time. This is the reason I don't believe in depression. Because I don't believe in depression, I cannot become depressed. No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. If you're in an old haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared, right? He wants an exorcist. He can't sleep. He's scared about ghosts. He's paranoid. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power? Right.